Car rental loss of use fee. When you damage a rental car, the repair cost is obvious. The bill does not stop at the repair. While the car sits in a repair shop, the rental company charges you for every day that car could have been out on the road. They call this the loss of use fee. It applies at the full daily rental rate, and it runs for as long as the repair takes. A fender bender that costs $300 to fix can generate $2,000 in loss of use charges while the car spends 2 weeks in the shop. In most U.S. states, this charge is legal. Most personal auto insurance policies do not cover it. Most credit card travel protections do not either, unless the card specifically lists loss of use coverage in its benefits guide. The fee is written into the standard rental agreement and is almost never mentioned at the counter. Checked baggage fee. U.S. Airlines collected $7.27 billion in checked baggage fees in 2024. American, Delta, and United each crossed $1 billion individually. The standard fee runs $35 to $45 per bag each way, meaning a round trip with one checked bag costs $70 to $90 on top of the ticket price. The fee applies regardless of how light the bag is. If the bag weighs more than 50 pounds, an oversized fee applies on top, typically $100 per bag. Some airlines charge more for checked bags on basic economy fares than on standard fares, meaning the total cost depends not just on what you buy at checkout, but on what fare class the ticket was purchased under. Dynamic currency conversion. When you use a foreign ATM or pay with a card at an international merchant, you may see a prompt asking if you want to pay in your home currency instead of the local one. This is dynamic currency conversion. It looks like a convenience. The exchange rate behind it is set by the merchant's bank, not by your card network, and it runs 3 to 18% above the interbank rate, which is the rate your card would have applied automatically if you had chosen to pay in local currency. The markup is never displayed as a percentage. It is folded into the exchange rate shown on screen, invisible unless you already know what to look for. Merchants and their banks split the markup as direct revenue. British consumers alone lose an estimated £500 million per year to dynamic currency conversion fees. Hotel resort fee. The resort fee is a mandatory nightly charge added to your hotel bill on top of the room rate you saw when you booked. You cannot opt out of it. It covers amenities the hotel provides regardless of whether you use them: a pool, a fitness center, Wi-Fi, a daily newspaper, sometimes a bottle of water. U.S. hotels collected $2.93 billion in resort, destination, and amenity fees in 2024. The typical fee runs $15 to $50 per night. The reason hotels charge it as a separate line item rather than rolling it into the room rate is structural. Booking platforms rank search results by nightly room rate. A hotel charging $100 per night plus a $30 resort fee appears higher in search results than a competitor charging $130 all in, even though the first option costs more. The fee exists to game the algorithm. Airline award ticket surcharge. When you redeem frequent flyer miles for a flight, you expect to pay government taxes and airport fees. Carrier imposed surcharges are different. These are fees the airline itself created and added to award ticket bookings, typically labeled YQ or YR on the confirmation. They are not taxes. They are not passed through to any government. On some routes, they exceed all actual government taxes combined. British Airways charges some of the highest in the industry. A round-trip business class award from New York to London on British Airways can cost over $1,000 in carrier surcharges and fees on top of the miles required to book it. The charge appears as a cash payment at checkout, separate from the miles balance, and is disclosed in the fine print rather than in the advertised miles price. Car rental collision damage waiver. The collision damage waiver, also called a loss damage waiver or CDW, is sold at the rental car counter for $15 to $35 per day. The counter agent typically presents it by describing your liability without it. If anything happens to the car, you are responsible. Your personal auto insurance policy, if you have one, almost certainly covers collision damage on rental cars. If you paid for the rental with a credit card that includes travel protections, many of those cards provide secondary collision coverage at no additional charge. Chase Sapphire, certain Visa Signature cards, and MasterCard World Elite include rental car protection as a cardholder benefit. The waiver is a legal product. Counter agents are trained not to ask whether you already have coverage elsewhere. Hotel destination credit. Some hotels advertise a daily destination credit as a partial offset to the resort fee, typically $10 to $20 per night, applicable to food and beverage purchases within the hotel. The credit expires every night at midnight, whether or not it was used. Redeeming it requires an active transaction at hotel prices, usually a drink or a meal. A $15 credit that can only be spent at a hotel bar where drinks cost $18 means you spend $18 to recover $15. The resort fee remains charged in full regardless. The destination credit increases on property, food, and beverage revenue for the hotel while appearing to reduce the guest's net cost. It does not reduce the guest's net cost. Cruise mandatory gratuity. Most cruise lines charge a mandatory daily gratuity per passenger, typically between $14.50 and $25 per person per day. On a 7-night sailing for two at $18 per person per day, that is $252 in gratuities before a single activity, meal, or drink is purchased. Then, on top of the daily gratuity, most cruise lines add an automatic service charge of 18 to 20% to every beverage order, every specialty restaurant bill, and every room service delivery. If one passenger orders 3 cocktails a day at $14 each, that adds another $29.40 per day in service charges alone. Luxury lines, including Regent 7 Seas and Virgin Voyages, include gratuities in their advertised fares, which shows that the separate daily charge is a pricing decision, not an operational requirement. Online booking fee. When you book a hotel through a third-party platform such as Expedia, Hotels.com, or Booking.com, a service fee is added to the room rate at checkout, typically 6 to 20% of the room rate. These platforms also earn a commission from the hotel, paid as a percentage of the room rate the guest pays. For years, that commission structure created a specific misalignment. Platforms collected commission only on the room rate, not on mandatory resort fees. Showing the room rate without adding resort fees made hotels on the platform appear cheaper, while the platform's own commission was unaffected. The FTC junk fees rule, which took effect in May 2025, now requires third-party booking platforms to display all mandatory fees in the total price shown to consumers before checkout. Carry-on bag fee. Budget carriers, including Spirit and Frontier, charge for carry-on bags that do not fit under the seat in front of you. The fee runs $45 to $100 when paid at the gate, compared to $20 to $40 when paid online in advance. A 2024 U.S. Senate investigation found that Spirit and Frontier had paid their gate agents personal cash commissions to identify passengers carrying bags that did not comply with the size rules. $5 per bag at Spirit, $10 per bag at Frontier. Over a 2-year period, the two carriers paid a combined $26 million in gate agent commissions through this program. The investigation found that agents were more likely to approach passengers who appeared unaware of the policy, since those passengers were more likely to pay the gate fee without dispute. Airline fuel surcharge. International airline tickets often include a line item called a fuel surcharge, labeled YQ or YR on the booking confirmation. The label implies that the charge reflects fuel costs the airline is passing through to the passenger. It does not work that way. Airlines set the surcharge amount independently, and most carriers have not adjusted it in proportion to actual jet fuel price movements in years. On some international routes, the fuel surcharge exceeds the base fare and all government taxes combined, making it the single largest line item on the bill while being presented as a variable cost recovery charge. On award ticket redemptions, the fuel surcharge is charged in cash on top of the miles required, meaning passengers pay both in miles and in dollars for the same seat. Seat selection fee. Most major U.S. airlines now charge passengers to select a specific seat at booking, ranging from $5 to $60 per seat per flight, depending on location. Passengers who do not pay are assigned a seat at check-in, which may mean a middle seat, a back of plane assignment, or separation from a travel companion. The basic economy fare class was designed in part to make the standard economy fare appear more valuable by comparison. Once you see how restricted the cheaper option is, paying more for the standard ticket feels like a reasonable upgrade. 5 airlines collected $12.4 billion in seat fees between 2018 and 2023, according to a U.S. Senate investigation. Car rental airport surcharges. Renting a car at an airport adds several line items to the bill that are not government taxes, though they are formatted similarly. The airport concession recovery fee is how the rental company passes on the cost of its terminal lease to customers. The vehicle license recovery fee covers the cost of registering and licensing the rental fleet. Neither is imposed by a government agency. Both are set by the rental company at whatever amount the company chooses. Together, these charges typically add 10 to 25% to the base rental rate and are not included in the rate shown in online search results. They appear in the rental agreement and at the pickup counter, but are rarely explained by the agent unless the customer asks. Airbnb Cleaning Fee. Short-term rental platforms allow hosts to charge a cleaning fee per booking in addition to the nightly rate. Fees range from $20 on small properties to $500 on larger ones, set entirely by each host. For guests staying a full week, a $200 cleaning fee adds about $30 per night. For a guest staying one night, it doubles the cost of the stay. For years, Airbnb's default search interface displayed nightly rates without the cleaning fee, so travelers selected listings based on the rate shown and discovered the actual cost only at checkout. After widespread consumer backlash in 2022, Airbnb updated its interface to show total price by default. The fees themselves remain unchanged, set by hosts, applied per booking regardless of stay length. Foreign transaction fee. Many credit and debit cards charge a fee of 1 to 3% on every purchase made outside the United States. The fee is applied automatically to each transaction and appears on the monthly statement rather than at the point of sale, so most travelers do not notice it until after they return home. On a 10-day international trip with $2,000 in card spending, a 3% foreign transaction fee adds $60 to the total. The fee can be avoided entirely by using a card that does not charge it. Chase, Sapphire, Preferred, Capital One Venture, and Schwab Bank debit cards are among the most widely available options with no foreign transaction fee. The fee cannot be waived after the fact and does not appear as a separate line item on individual transactions. Airline change and cancellation fee. When you change or cancel a non-refundable airline ticket, the airline charges a processing fee. Before the COVID pandemic, the standard fee on domestic U.S. routes ran up to $200 per ticket. During the pandemic, major legacy carriers waived it entirely. When travel resumed, Delta, American, and United kept the waiver in place for main cabin tickets and above on domestic and most international routes. Budget carriers, including Spirit, Frontier, and Allegiant, still charge change and cancellation fees ranging from $20 to $199, depending on fare class and how close to departure the change is made. Travel insurance can reimburse change fees under specific qualifying conditions, but the standard trip cancellation benefit requires a documented covered reason, such as illness, injury, or a family emergency.